Title suggestion: the counterintuitive truth about success that the I Ching figured out 3,000 years ago. You are standing at a crossroads. Every spreadsheet in your office says, go left. Every logic-based framework you've been taught since primary school screams, go left. Your mentors, your peers, and your own ego are all pointing toward that same path. But the oldest book in human history, a text that has survived the rise and fall of a dozen empires, says that going left is the fastest way to lose everything you have spent a lifetime building. We are obsessed with the linear path. We believe that if we work harder, if we push faster, if we exert more control, the graph must move up and to the right. We treat life like a machine we can engineer. But the universe is not a machine. It is a river, and the more you try to grab the water, the faster it slips through your fingers. 3,000 years ago, the sages of the East realized a truth that modern Silicon Valley and Wall Street are only just beginning to rediscover. Success is not about force. It is about timing. It is not about knowing what to do, but knowing when the world is ready for you to do it. Today, we decode the I Ching, not as a book of fortune-telling, but as the ultimate manual for high-stakes decision-making in a world that refuses to stay still. Did you know that Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, spent 30 years studying this text because he couldn't explain why it worked so accurately? He called it synchronicity. The ancients simply called it the way. To understand the power of the I Ching, you must first feel the weight of its origin. Imagine the year 1050 before Christ. The Shang dynasty is rotting from within. The emperor, Zhou Xin, is a man of legendary cruelty. He has forgotten the mandate of heaven. He spends his days in decadence while his people starve. Among his prisoners is a man named King Wen of Zhou. For 7 years, Wen is held in a cell in Yoli. He is surrounded by death. He is powerless. He has every reason to despair. But while the world outside is in chaos, Wen is looking at the patterns of the universe. He is watching the way the sun hits the prison bars. He is watching the seasons change through a tiny slit in the wall. He realizes that everything, from the fall of an empire to the growth of a blade of grass, follows 64 specific patterns of change. He organizes these patterns into the hexagrams we know today. He wasn't writing a book of magic. He was writing a book of strategy for the powerless to become powerful. Fast forward 3 millennia. We see the same patterns. Think of the Nokia moment. In 2007, Nokia controlled 40% of the global mobile phone market. They were the Shang dynasty of tech. They had the resources, the talent, and the momentum. But they couldn't see the pattern of the standstill. They pushed their existing logic harder and harder, while the river of the market had already changed direction. The I Ching teaches us that when the mandate of heaven shifts, no amount of effort can save the old guard. And conversely, when your time has come, no prison cell can hold you back. King Wen left that prison and laid the foundation for the longest-running dynasty in Chinese history. He didn't do it by fighting the current. He did it by becoming the current. Let us look at the first and most fundamental teaching. Hexagram 1. Qian, the creative. The I Ching says, hidden dragon. Do not act. Decode this. We are told from birth to just do it. We are told that hustle is the only variable. But the I Ching argues that there are stages of power, and acting in the wrong stage is a death sentence for your ambition. Think of Steve Jobs in the 1990s. He had been ousted from Apple. He was the hidden dragon. If he had tried to force his way back into the PC market immediately with the same tactics he used in the 80s, he would have failed. Instead, he spent years at Next and Pixar, developing his vision in the shadows. He was gathering his chi. He waited until the dragon appeared in the field, until the technology and the market were ready for the return of the visionary. The actionable principle is this: your current lack of progress is not a failure. It is a necessary period of hiddenness. If you act before you have the internal depth to sustain the external pressure, you will shatter. Wait. Before we move to the next teaching, ask yourself? Are you frustrated because you aren't winning? Or are you frustrated because you are refusing to be a hidden dragon? Sometimes, the most aggressive move you can make is to stay invisible. Hexagram 29, Kansas. The abysmal. Water. The I Ching says, water flows on uninterruptedly and reaches its goal. If one is sincere in his heart, he succeeds, and whatever he does will have significance. In Western strategy, we think of strength as a wall. We build moats around our businesses. We use fortress metaphors. But the I Ching says that the only true strength is the strength of water. Why? Because a wall can be broken. A wall is rigid. But water? You cannot break water. When water encounters an obstacle, it doesn't try to smash through it with ego. It simply fills the gaps until it is high enough to flow over the top. Look at Netflix in 2011. They were a DVD by mail company. They encountered a massive obstacle. The internet was becoming fast enough for streaming. Their old model was a wall. Most companies would have tried to reinforce that wall, lobbying for the status quo. But Reed Hastings chose to be water. He sacrificed his own profitable DVD business, the Quickster debacle, to flow into the new channel of streaming. He was sincere in his heart about the mission of entertainment, not the medium of plastic discs. The actionable principle: stop trying to smash the obstacles in your life. Instead, find the path of least resistance and fill the space until the obstacle becomes irrelevant. Hexagram 11, Thai. Peace. The I Ching says, there is no plane that has not a slope. There is no going out that has not a return. He who remains persevering in danger will remain without blame. This is the most counterintuitive lesson of all. The I Ching warns us that the moment of peace, the moment when everything is going perfectly, is the most dangerous moment of your life. In the West, we call this mean reversion or cyclicality, but we rarely feel it in our bones. When the stock market is at an all-time high, we believe it will go higher. When our relationship is perfect, we stop putting in the effort. Think of the dot-com bubble or the 2008 housing crisis. The people who lost everything weren't the ones who were failing. They were the ones who were winning so much that they forgot the law of the slope. They forgot that every up creates the potential energy for a down. The actionable principle: in times of prosperity, prepare for hardship. In times of hardship, prepare for prosperity. Never let your internal state match your external circumstances. Stop. Consider this statistic. 80% of successful companies fail within 20 years of their greatest profit year. Success isn't a destination. It's a temporary state of balance on a moving tightrope. Are you looking at the tightrope, or are you looking at the trophy? Hexagram 63, after completion. The I Ching says, at the beginning, good fortune. At the end, disorder. This is the final hexagram in the book, or so you would think. But it isn't. The 63rd hexagram is after completion, and the 64th, the actual final chapter, is before completion. The sages were geniuses. They knew that the moment you think you have finished a project, a career, or a goal, you have entered a state of maximum vulnerability. This is why one-hit wonders exist. This is why many athletes fall into depression after winning a gold medal. They reached the end, and they weren't prepared for the disorder that follows completion. Look at Disney after the death of Walt. They had completed the vision. For decades, they coasted on the past. They entered a state of disorder because they stopped acting as if they were before completion. It took a radical shift in the 90s and again with the acquisition of Marvel to realize that the work is never done. The actionable principle: the moment you succeed, immediately reset your mind to the state of a beginner. Treat every finish as the before of a new start. We have traveled from the prisons of ancient China to the boardrooms of modern giants. But wisdom without action is merely entertainment. Here are the 3 things you must do this week to align yourself with the patterns of change. First, the 24-hour observation. Tomorrow, do not try to hustle. Instead, try to witness. Look for the hinge of your day. What is the moment where the energy shifts from productive to draining? Where is the water flowing, and where is it hitting a wall? Do not judge it. Just label it. Here is hexagram 12. Stand still. By naming the pattern, you stop being a victim of it. You become the strategist. Second, the strategic retreat. Identify one project or argument where you are currently pushing against a wall. Maybe it's a stubborn client, a failing investment, or a relationship conflict. For the next 72 hours, stop pushing. Stop being the wall. Become the water. Retreat, not out of weakness, but to see where the new path of least resistance is forming. You will be shocked at how the obstacle changes when it has nothing left to hit. Third, the hexagram journal. Every time you make a major decision this week, ask yourself, am I acting as a hidden dragon, a dragon in the field, or a dragon in flight? If you are starting a new hobby, you are a hidden dragon. Don't try to monetize it yet. If you are applying for a promotion, you are in the field. Be visible. If you are at the top of your game, you are in flight. Watch out for the slope. Match your internal intensity to your external stage. Wait, do you feel that? That slight discomfort in your chest when I say stop pushing? That is your ego. The I Ching is the only book that tells you that your ego is a terrible strategist. Listen to that discomfort. It is the sound of your old patterns breaking. King Wen died long before his son finally overthrew the Shang dynasty. He never saw the full realization of his vision in the physical world. But it didn't matter. He had already won because he had mastered the world of change within himself. We live in a world that is obsessed with the what. What car do you drive? What is your net worth? What is your title? The I Ching asks a different question. It asks, when? When is it time to speak? When is it time to be silent? When is it time to strike? And when is it time to vanish? If you can master the when, the what will take care of itself. The river doesn't wonder if it will reach the ocean. It simply follows the path that has been laid for it since the beginning of time. You started this video at a crossroads. You were looking for a map. But the I Ching isn't a map. It's a compass. A map shows you a world that is static. A compass shows you how to navigate a world that is constantly shifting under your feet. Go left if you must. Go right if you can. But whatever you do, do not move until you feel the mandate of heaven behind you. The wisdom of the sages is a heavy burden, but it is the only thing that will keep you upright when the storms of change arrive. If you found clarity in these patterns, the Art of War playbook in the description below will show you how to apply these same principles to the modern battlefield of career and competition. In our next episode, we go deeper into the abysmal. We will look at how to survive a total collapse of your current reality. You won't want to miss the strategy for the dark night of the soul. The world changes. The wise remain.